Hey everyone, 0x here. Welcome to this unfamiliar place. And I want to do a little bit more of a building series instead of doing technical Minecraft and then just being too lazy to record any of it. So, but before we start with that, I have a little bit of a confession to make though. So, that is a little bit embarrassing. And how to phrase that? I'm a pony. I'm totally a pony. Look at me, I'm a pony. Okay, so that is not the embarrassing part though. The embarrassing part is that I already started building here. And when I started this world, I didn't really have in mind making a series about this, so I did not record anything. And how to deal with that? That's embarrassing. That's a problem. So I came up with a little bit of a solution for that. I built a time machine. So, yeah, we can go back in time to the very beginning and see what I did since then. Look at all the progress. So let's get the keys of the time machine and then let's get going back in time. Yay! The time machine actually worked. I'm still at spawn, but I'm all the way back in time. Well, there's a small beginnings of a base already. And if you look in the cave, also here. And it seems like I was just about to go dig down here and search for some diamonds and other resources. So let's go forward in time and see what happened then. Okay, so I'm here at a little bit later time, and as you can see, I paved over all of spawn and put in some walls just to keep hostile mobs out of this area. And what I discovered while doing that, which I didn't know had changed, is that the player suddenly spawns on grass blocks. I'm pretty sure in older versions it was different. I'm pretty sure in 1.12 the player just spawned in a random location in the spawn area, and the player was just put on the highest block in that position, or at least the highest non-transparent block. But yeah, that has changed, and if you remove all the grass on top and put grass further down, you can actually move your spawn point down, which is pretty cool. I'm definitely going to use that later. I also got some tools going already. Got some diamond, my first diamond pickaxe. Got an enchantment table, nether portal, even though I didn't do any exploring in the nether yet. So that's for another time. Already got a little bit of a farm going on here with some animals and farming some eggs. So let's go further in time. So it's yet a little bit later now. You can see that my little starter base here is expanding a bit. And nothing much changed on the surface. I've been just doing some farming there. But I've also been exploring down in the caves. And when I was exploring this cave, I heard some noises coming from this direction. So I just dug through the wall and I found this other cave. This other cave leads to a ravine, and down on the other side of the ravine there's actually a cave spider spawner. So I got myself a little bit of an XP farm and also a string and spider eye farm. And I also did some more farming until I got a complete set of 15 bookshelves, so I can do some enchantment now. So it's a little bit later, and as you see, I've been doing some exploring in the nether. Found this nether fortress, and just in this direction there's spawn where I came from. So I already got some nether wart and brought it back to my base, and some blaze rods. So I'm back at spawn now, and what we have here is the very first automated farm. So it's a really simple wool farm, and it gives me every single color of wool, because there's one sheep with each color in here. And because all those sheep are eating the grass far faster than it can grow, I have this piston tape here which pushes in fresh grass blocks. And on the other side the dirt comes out and it has plenty of time to regrow before it's getting pushed back in again. And of course there's a dispenser here with shears to actually farm and to automatically collect the wool. So a little bit more time passed, and as you can see, I now built some house around, or the beginnings of a house around the sheep farm. This is something that I haven't actually finished in the present yet, so I might tear that down because I don't really like much how that started out. I went back a little bit further in time, and as you can hear and see in a moment, I do have villagers now. One of those villagers here is a farmer. I'm using that to get all the emeralds. And then I also have a mending villager. I got this mending villager just with the trick of removing the lectern and placing it again until I got a mending villager, because mending is pretty much the most useful thing to have at this point in time. Also, this hole here, this is pretty much the very beginning of my main build. So I'm excited about that, and I will extend this a lot further later on. So yet a little bit later, and look at this, I do have a beacon now. I'm still missing a little bit of a beacon base though, and I may have cheesed the river fight a little bit. Okay, but because of the beacon base, I have built a little bit of an iron farm over here. So this is a design by Raceworks, where it works pretty good. So it pretty much drops so much iron that I will never need a second one. I may move this somewhere else later, because I don't want to have raw farms littering the landscape. I'll either decorate this later, or I will move it somewhere else, or both, pretty much both. But the really exciting part is down here. So there is the first part of the build. So this is, yeah, I started with my main build. What is this? This is cruel. Who would do that to villagers? Put them in a cage. Oh boy, that's pretty dark. So yeah, I built this bridge here. Right now it's merely a walkway, and I still need to dig out a lot of space below. And once I have the full beacon set up, I can do that, because right now it's pretty hard to dig out a large area because I don't have instant mine yet. Traveled a little bit further in time, and if the last one was exciting, this one is even more exciting because I now have a full haste 2 beacon, which means I can finally instant mine. Stone blocks and similar stuff. Also, look at this. I have some mushrooms. I think they've been here for quite some time already, and I just didn't notice them. So I definitely did some exploring in the meantime and found a mushroom biome. Also, yeah, here's my farmer. And this guy is going to be the next mending villager. Sad thing, something sad happened to the other guy that I had. And, well, he died. Too bad. And as you can see, I've been digging out a little bit more, and I'm building those arches. And the cage is now suspended from those arches. And I'm using the warp blocks here as some detail. Just to give this build a little bit of color, and that's pretty much it. The bridge is still like it was before. But I'm going to expand on this a lot more. So let's go there and see what happened further. So it's a little bit later yet again, and I have made a lot of progress in this room. So this is still my main build, and those arches, I have copied one of those arches over to here, and I added a lot of details with the lanterns and the slabs over here, and I made a small archway or doorway where I can walk through on this. So the plan is that I'll be able to walk all around the central pit, and then I have this bridge in the center where I can walk over, and I can stand right above the pit and look down into it. So this bridge that has been here for quite some time, I changed it a little bit. I removed the oak trapdoors and replaced them with the warped trapdoors. And down here in the pit, I decided to line the walls with some wooden panels that are surrounded by some trim, some edge here, made out of a pattern of the chiseled black stone and the smooth basalt, which I think looks pretty nice. So here we are. It's a little bit later, and we are outside again. And will you look at that? Some black, weird stone needles are coming out of the ground. So yeah, I did a little bit of detailing up here on this hill. But let's have a look down here. Not a lot happened, but you can see I'm using the scaffolding here. It's really nice to build something that's higher up under the ceiling. And I started copying over those arches from here to there, and it's coming along pretty nicely. So I did another jump in time. And will you look at that? The arches on this side of the room are also finished now. I did all of the ceiling in the middle between them, and I added some beams going between them for structural support. And I did some nice design here over at the ends of the room. So other than that, I dug out the pit a little bit deeper. I added some chains here, so when I add a second cage, it will be further down. It will be a lot further down than the first cage. I finished those wooden panels over here with all the trims around it. So also the inside of this pit is coming along nicely. And this room is almost finished. So what's missing is just a little bit more of the floor, some details here and there, and maybe I need to get rid of some of the stone here on the ceiling. So here we are a little bit later, just a little bit later, and the room is now almost finished. And look what I used for the ceiling. It's your most favorite block. It is truly the most beautiful, your most favorite block. And for details, I hung some of those vines. Those how are they called? Weeping vines. Those weeping vines I hung from the ceiling, and I think they look pretty nice. Okay, here we go. So just a little bit later, and the room is done. It's finished, so let's go through this door and see what it looks like. So everything here is done. The floor is a little bit overgrown here next to the entrance. The complete floor is finished. I put some water here and put some lily pads on top. It's really nice. I didn't know that lily pads could grow on top of those waterlogged stairs. That's pretty neat. And I put some more details here where the vines are hanging from the ceiling. I put some of the red nether wart blocks As next to this entrance, there's a little bit more overgrown stuff. And there's nothing on this side. I mapped out a room here later for where, because this is all river biome. This is all river biome, so I wanna have some drowned spawning here later on. So that is going to be behind those doors. Other than that, I expanded the pit further downwards. And now that the room on top here is actually finished, I'm working on the room below. So this pit is going to be one huge room later on. And that is going to be the next part of this whole thing. While digging out this pit, I came across this ravine here. And as it turns out, this ravine here is actually the ravine with the spider dungeon at the end of it. So if I go along here, I actually come down here right to my spider XP farm. Really nice. Not a lot changed here. I just dug out a little bit more. Yet a little bit later, this time on the surface, I experimented with those nether roots a little bit, and I planted them on the grassy hill here. And I think it looks pretty nice, even if it doesn't have the same color as the grass. So it kind of looks like some kind of moss growing here, or lichens, or something similar like that. And yeah, so yet another neat little detail that I added here. So a little bit more time has passed, and now you can finally catch a small glimpse of what this room is gonna look like when it's finished. So my vision for this room is that it has a lot of columns all around it that are going to hold up the walls of the pit over here. And yeah, this column is, the top of this column is already completely decorated, while the other columns all around the rooms aren't finished yet. Okay, what a ride, what a ride. I had some technical problems with the time machine. It sent me off to a different planet where some cultists tried to brainwash me, and I barely made it out of there and escaped with a time machine back here, and now everything's fine again. So yeah, you can see now all the columns are decorated. I still need to dig down a lot further. Great! So this time the time machine worked flawlessly. And I'm back down here at a later point in time. And as you can see, I dug out a huge room. And I built up the columns. I built up the columns all the way down. And I started working on the base of the columns a little bit. And I introduced a new block to the palette here. So down here, we're gonna have some stone breaks. So because the room up there and the room down here are connected, I'm going to use a pretty similar block palette, but that doesn't stop me from varying it a little bit. So yeah, otherwise this is still pretty unfinished. So let's hop into the time machine again and let's see where it takes us. So after another successful time travel, what happened to the pillars? They were built up all the way. What? Oh, yeah. So there's a second set of pillars now because I found that the room was a little bit too small. So I expanded it and dug out a lot more. And there's gonna be a second set of pillars I yet have to build up, but there's also something more. I added a new block to the build palette. Yay! It's a liquid block. Whoa! There was a creeper in the water. Okay, so there's gonna be, or there already is, a water basin in the very center of the base. And my idea is to add some canals going in and out of the main entries and exits. So later I can attach, yeah, I can run an intricate system of canals through my base, and I can use a boat to get to other places within the base. So, for example, over there, there's the spider XP farm that I have. And I put the water exactly at the correct height, so I can run a canal over there and build an interesting room over there for the XP farm that is still above the water level. Okay. Oh my gosh. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Are you kidding me? Now that I do time travel, I get a trident. I killed so many drowns. I killed so many drowns in the current timeline. And the bad thing is I can't even take this with me, because that would create a paradox in the timelines and destroy everything. Why? Why? Come on. Okay. Well, here I am, and that's really unfair. I hate those guys. So as you can see, I added a lot. I built up all those columns here, but it's not yet finished. But there's also one more little thing, and that is I dug out this huge section of chunk here. I think I showed that earlier. And now drowns can spawn in here, and they sink all the way down. I wouldn't really call this a drowned farm, because it's really slow for a farm. To make this fast, I would really need to clear out, or rather light up, a lot of caves. So they come down here, and then they get pushed by the piston you just saw there. If I now get a second trident, I will scream out loud. I will cry. No, I did not get a second trident, but wow, those guys, they know how to troll me. Okay, I'm glad I didn't land in the water this time. I had to clean out my whole time machine after that. So yeah, what have I been doing here? So I tried out some designs for the walls. So this was the very first thing, but that's looking a little bit, just a little bit too flat. Then I moved this a little further back, and I think this is going into the right direction. And then on top, I'll see what I put there. So yeah, I finished all the rest of the columns. I did not put on the tops yet. The top of the columns is something that I still have to build up here. Hey, who's this? I don't remember that guy being here. I hope I didn't mess up the timeline. We will see when we come back to the present. Guys, we have done it. We are back in the present. What a trip. What a trip. What is this? What is this? What is going on here? That can't be. Guys, I think we messed up the timeline. We should not have built this time machine. What? Okay. You did not see this. Nobody saw this. Nobody saw this. I need to get rid of this. Wow. I need to get rid of all of this. Nobody ever saw a thing. Nobody. All of this needs to go. Is that everything? Wow. You did not see a single thing. Oh, I definitely got enough of this for today. Oh boy. I'm done. So here we are again, back at the base. Oh my gosh, what was that yesterday? The time machine is gone. Where did the time machine go? I still have the keys, but the time machine is gone. It was right here. Oh well. Yeah, so let's go in here. We've already seen this room finished. But let's check out the downstairs and hop into the pit. I still haven't put the other cage on here. And it's not quite finished. The main entries and exits, they still need to be done. Oh, there's a guy with a trident. Maybe I can get a trident now. Please? Please? No. That will take a little bit more time, I guess. So what I did for the walls is I put in two different designs. They're pretty similar. The only difference is that one has a fire there and the other one has lanterns there. Otherwise, they are pretty much identical. So I alternated between those two different ones. Yeah, have a look at them over there, and you can see that. You can see them when you go through those hallways. There's one thing that's a little bit unfortunate though, and that is the water column I dug out for the grounds. I underestimated a little bit how close this is. So yeah, the water is directly behind those exits. So yeah, there's a door, the doorways here, and there's the water right behind it. I think that's not a great thing, so I might need to remove the water here and move it somewhere else. I actually looked for a place already, and in that direction there's an area of river that's a little bit smaller, but it's 32 blocks away here from the edge, so that should be plenty. Here's my temporary way up. So this whole thing will pretty much be my main hub for the base. And it's really close to spawn. So spawn is right here where the beacon is. And I think later I'm going to use the trick that I found out about earlier, where I can move the spawn of the player underground just by removing the grass blocks on the top and putting some grass blocks down here in the cave. So you will spawn next to this room, and this is, if you spawn into this world, it will pretty much be the first thing that you will encounter. Let's get some materials, and then I'll start building this, or first find a design and then build it on each side. So how would this look? I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not too sure about it. So how is this? No, that's not good. So how does this look? It looks a little flat, I think. So, but what if instead of using those blocks at all, I'm gonna put some shroom lights in here. Okay, let's try those things. This final arch there needs to be a little bit less sharp. Needs to be a little bit more rounded. Not quite. No, I don't quite like that yet. No, I think I'm gonna remove all of this stuff. So this took quite some back and forth between here and building over there, and I think it now turned out pretty well. But I think that's it for this episode. Before I can do the other sides, I still have to farm a few more shroom lights, so that's gonna take a little bit of time. I guess I'm gonna do the farming off camera, and yeah. Please leave any feedback down below in the comments, and see you next time.